Hey guys, happy Monday. I am getting feedback for some reason, so I apologize. Happy Monday. I am Teri True Crime. I hope everyone watching had a safe and happy weekend and that it was relaxing. For those of you that follow on social media, you know my weekend wasn't the best as our sweet little Maltese Josie crossed over the Rainbow Bridge this weekend. Me and HH are extremely heartbroken because she was truly the best girl. I mean, she was a great little girly girl. And I also caught COVID, so not feeling 100%. So I apologize up front for being a little off today and also for not looking that great. But I am still on this side of the dirt, so I can't really complain. It could be much worse. So, welcome to can't even talk. Welcome to Midday Missing, where I cover current missing person cases. For those of you that are new here, currently True Crime and Wine Time production produces the podcast True Crime and Wine Time, the Hey Ho Show, the investigation into the disappearance of Chase Lackey, Night Court, which is on a break but will be coming back with a new format, and we have a new series, Women on Death Row, which will premiere on August 9th, and of course, Midday Missing. So we stream live several days a week, as well as upload pre recorded videos. So be sure to subscribe to our page so you do not miss anything. We are also trying to get 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Once we hit that, we will be having a party and we will also be giving away some True Crime and Wine Time merch. To the people who subscribe. What we're going to do, and we will do it live, we will take the 1,000 subscribers, put them into a sheet, sort them randomly, and then we will choose individuals for those prizes. So be sure to subscribe. Also, help get the word out and invite others to subscribe. Now, today it seems like the thing about Midday Missing, the cases are always brutal, always heartbreaking. So I'm just going to tell you these are especially heartbreaking. Plus, the way I'm feeling, going to make it even worse. But I am going to close out today with a funny little story for you guys. So let's get started. Wesley Dale Morgan is who we're talking about first. So it was in the tranquil town of Clinton, Louisiana on May 15th, 2001, where a very chilling event took place that, guys, has left the community forever haunted. Wesley Dale Morgan was a bright and cheerful 2-year-old boy, and he was outside playing on the porch with some puppies when he vanished without a trace from his home. Now, Wesley's mom, Ruby Havard, told police that she and Leslie were outside together and that she went inside to boil some eggs and that she was gone for about 5 minutes. And that when she came back out, Wesley was gone. She said she looked for Wesley for about 15 minutes before calling police. Now, guys, Ruby gave birth to Wesley when she was 17 years old, and her and Wesley's dad split up, and she had started seeing this new man. So she was a young mom. Wesley lived with his mother and this new boyfriend by the name of Burnell Hilton in a rental house along US Highway 63. Now, I am going to apologize right now because I know I am going to slaughter this parish's name, and all of my Cajun relatives are going to roll their eyes and say, "What is wrong with you, girl?" But I'm going to do my best. The East Feliciana Paris Sheriff's Office was quickly alerted and a massive search operation was launched. Now, volunteers, neighbors, and a search and rescue team combed the surrounding woods and swamps, but Wesley was nowhere to be found. Despite the community and law enforcement's best efforts, days turned into weeks with no signs of the missing toddler. Guys, I'm already starting to tear up, so I should be a little more professional and not do that, but I apologize. Ruby continued to deny knowing what happened to her son, Wesley. And police have said that both Ruby and Burnell took polygraph tests, and they both failed. Now, I've said this before on the True Crime and Wine Time podcast. I know that lie detectors are not admissible in court, that people know how to pass them, people can fail for reasons we don't know. But I am still going to say I find that a little suspicious. But I also want to tell you that Burnell was charged with attempted murder for an unrelated shooting in October of 1998. So Ruby and Burnell split up not long after Wesley went missing. Now, guys, police have told reporters that after using dogs and searching the area, that this case is a criminal investigation, and they believe Wesley was killed or kidnapped. Now, police investigators have now said they have suspected of Ruby of selling Wesley. They said that Ruby rarely asked for updates on the case and showed very little to no emotion when the search was called off. Now, Ruby has said that she felt targeted due to her lifestyle. Guys, I went down a lot of rabbit holes. I couldn't find what she meant about her lifestyle. The only thing I could find is that maybe she had some sexual encounters with individuals in law enforcement and maybe some threesomes. I'm not sure why that would make you be targeted, but that's my 2 cents. Now, guys, buckle up, because on January 8th, 2008, Ruby Renee Harvard was arrested for allegedly trying to sell her youngest child. The newest baby was just a couple of weeks old at the time of her arrest. The judge placed this new baby into the state's custody pending resolution on the case. Ruby told police that she was not trying to sell her baby and that it was an adoption that went wrong. I'm not sure how adoptions go wrong, but we'll see. Ruby had offered to sell her baby to a married couple for $2,000. Guys, in my opinion, $2,000 is not enough for selling your child that you carried for 9 months and went through labor. Okay, just going to say, first of all, you shouldn't be selling your baby. But Ruby said that she and the couple who wanted to adopt her baby couldn't afford to use attorneys, and that Ruby, along with the couple, went to a notary and signed a statement stating that the couple would give Ruby $2,000 for her baby. Guys, seriously, $2,000. That doesn't even pay for your medical care, if you got medical care during your pregnancy, for labor and delivery, unless you got it free because you were on state assistance. But really, come on, guys. Now, however, when Ruby had the baby, she said she changed her mind and wanted to keep the baby. And of course, the $2,000. The couple was upset and they called the police. Okay. You call the police after trying to illegally buy somebody's baby. But hey, I'm not going to judge, right? Now, Ruby said that the money was to cover medical bills. As I said, I don't know what the cost was to have a baby in 2008. I can tell you when I had my youngest, which will be 33 years next week, that it cost more than $2,000. Okay. Now, when the case was investigated, they didn't have enough concrete proof that Ruby was selling her baby, since she had used some of that money to pay medical bills. Therefore, the prosecutors dropped the case against her, just dropped it. And I couldn't find that they filed charges against the couple trying to purchase or adopt this baby. And guys, despite the ongoing extensive search effort, Wesley's whereabouts remain a mystery today. The East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office continued to pursue leads, but each new clue ended in frustration. Guys, this case has gone cold. But the impact of Wesley's disappearance, everything I read has lingered in the hearts and minds of those that knew him, but also of the community. The community was distraught and they are still distraught. Wesley would be 25 years old today. Okay. Police and many in the community believe that Wesley is still alive and that he was sold to someone who wanted a child. Guys, I liked that positive spin. I really hope that too. Now, I'm going to read you a posting that I found on that East Feliciana Crime Watch page from a person who is donating their time to find Wesley because, guys, it makes me mad if this is even partially true. I mean, if it is 10% true, it is horrific. Okay, now I'm going to read you this post verbatim. Ruby Freeman, let's go back in time, shall we? Let me remind you that when I first began my efforts to help find out what happened to Wesley, I contacted you and offered to work with you. Do you remember what your response was? I certainly do. I was shocked by it. You said, don't ever contact me again and only contact my attorney, Rhonda Covington. So I made an effort to do just that. Of course, she refused to respond either. I volunteered to Sheriff Bunch, who also refused to even respond to my letters. I submitted a request to Sheriff Bunch to please have an updated Crime Stoppers segment produced. He didn't respond. And I've been harassed and criticized about wanting to hold vigils, etc., for Wesley by the family. So please explain to me why, when someone volunteers to help work on a case to find a missing 2-year-old child, nearly everyone close to the case fights so hard to keep it from happening. Please tell me the last time you or other family have put up a billboard, had a news conference, or placed ads in a newspaper. Please tell me why it is that when I tried so hard to get elected officials in this parish to pledge reward money to add to the $10,000 already offered by the FBI, not one pledged. However, quite a few citizens did. I mailed a letter to every elected official in this parish requesting some support in this case, and only one responded. District Attorney Sam Diagila was the only one. Tell me why many in this parish have refused to offer any public interest in assisting with the disappearance of your child, especially those in the best possible position to do so. And since you're at it, why don't you explain why you would leave a 2-year-old outside unattended while you're in the house preparing food? What were the questions asked of you in Burnell that caused you to fail the polygraph? I know and accept the fact a polygraph is not conclusive evidence that something or someone has done something wrong. So why not explain it to me? When people who should be excited for the interest in their missing family member put up a wall against it, one can only go from that and offer theories. Explain to me why not one family member has attended any activity I've done in recognition of the fact Wesley is missing. Explain to me why not one family member that I know of has promoted the fact May is Missing Person Month in this parish in honor of Wesley. Why is May Missing Person Month? Because I have worked to have it done. And thanks to the police jury, it was adopted. To sit here and cite all the time and effort I've put into trying to get Wesley's case recognized as something we need to make a priority in our community would take too long to do right now. So don't act like I just jumped on this to harass you or anyone else. You have had all of this time to work with me, or at least explain in detail your side and offer explanation and ideas of what happened. So have others. Tell me why this case seems to be such a secret. Why are people afraid to openly talk about it or want it worked on? Oh, I could continue, but why waste my time? To this day, the family and the community want to know what happened to Wesley. If he is alive, guys, I hope that someone comes forward and tells, or that DNA helps reunite him with his family. Because, guys, this is disturbing to me. I can tell you just from working with Chase's family, when I reached out to them and we offered to help and give free resources, they jumped on and said, yes, please. And they did set guidelines and they said, this is some things we want done, no to this, but they set guidelines. And guys, when we held the event for Chase's birthday, they showed up. They were there. They share the post. So tell me why you're not helping as that family, because guys, my 2-year-old goes missing. I mean, my oldest is going to be 33 next week. If he went missing when he was 2, I would still be screaming at the top of my lungs. And anybody that offered to help, I would take the help. Now, yes, do I know there's a lot of crazies out there? Do I know there's a lot of people who would exploit and take advantage? Absolutely. But guys, I would still do it. Okay. Now, this case made me think of Julian Hernandez, who found out he had been taken by his father when he was a little boy when he started applying to college. So I truly hope something similar helps Wesley find his way back to his family. Because if he is alive, he needs to be found and he needs to know what happened to him, and the community needs to know, even if his mother doesn't. Now, I'm going to be honest and say, I am not sure how I feel about his mom. So I'm going to reserve comment because anything I say would not be very nice because I don't understand. If she wants to reach out to me and tell me and help me understand, I'm open. We can have an off the record conversation. But that's all I'm going to say. And yes, I see somebody in the chat said that, it's Louisiana. Nothing surprises me. I agree. What I know about Louisiana can be a little scary, but it doesn't explain to me why the mom and the family members, the biological dad, the grandmothers, aunts, uncles, cousins, why they aren't out. Because, guys, this is a 2-year-old little boy. Why are they not wanting to find him? Makes me think they know where he is. So if you have any information regarding Wesley Dale Morgan, please call the East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office at 225 683 5459. And if you're a family member of Wesley Dale Morgan, do better, please. Do better. It'll make me feel better, and it'll make Wesley feel better if he's still alive and he's found, to know that there was somebody in his family that loved him enough to do anything and everything to find him. So I'm going to tell you, this next case is just as hard. But as I'm learning, the more I get into these midday missing cases, none of them are easy. They are all heartbreaking. And it was one reason in the beginning I stayed away from them. But it's cases like Wesley's that make me feel even more passionate about doing this. And it's one of the reasons I didn't cancel today's live stream with me not feeling well, looking like crap. I was like, I am going to get out of bed. I am going to do for these people that are missing, especially when the family freaking won't get off their ass and do something. And I'm sorry, the fact that you tried to sell your child, adopt your child, whatever, for 2 grand tells me you probably weren't the best mom material anyway. So, ooh, Buffy, I see you say you live there. Um, I need to know more. Please send me a message on the courtyard. Tell me why this case doesn't get recognition. Tell me what some of the theories are. There was a lot of rabbit holes. Um, I would love to know more. So, this next one, Branson Kane Perry. I'm going to stop there and tell y'all I love that name, Branson. I don't know why, but I really like it. Branson was born on February 24th, 1981, and was raised in Skidmore, Missouri by his parents. His parents were divorced, but they both lived in the area. Now, Branson lived with his dad, Bob, in Skidmore, and he graduated from Nottoway Holt High School. Guys, I love that name for a high school, Nottoway. That I just thought was so funny. So you've got to find lightheartedness where you can in these, turn out. Now, April turned out to be a month from hell for Branson. Um, and I do want to say right now, what we're about to get into is very troubling and can be triggering for some. We are going to discuss some sexual assault. I am not going to get into the details, but if that is something that's triggering to you, I am going to suggest you mute for a couple of minutes as I get past it, or come back and see us on Wednesday. Now, on or around April 7th, 2001, Branson went over to Jason Bierman, a neighbor. And according to what Branson told his dad, Jason drugged Branson without his knowledge, and he was then sexually assaulted by Jason. Branson confided in his dad, Bob, and told him how upset he was with being drugged and taken advantage of. Bob knew that his son was gay, and he figured he'd had relationships with other males. Wasn't, sure about this, but he was furious with Jason for his actions. No one has the right to drug someone and take away their ability to say no or to fight back. And I agree with Bob. I would be furious too. Now, guys, sadly, it was just 4 days later on April 11th, 2001, that Branson would walk out of his house. He was going to take some jumper cables to the shed, and he would never be seen again. Now, Branson had a friend over, and I am not going to get into all of the stuff about the friend because I saw a lot of people throwing hate at this friend online, and I just don't think that's okay. His friend already has to live with questioning, shouldn't I, should I have done this? So, but Branson had a friend over, and they were getting the house ready for Bob to return home from a hospital stay. Bob had to go in, have something done, and was expected to be coming home soon. Branson's friend said that Branson said, "Hey, I'm going to run out to the shed, take the jumper cables," and that he would be right back. Now, Branson didn't return, and his friend just assumed he got distracted. And because there were some people working on cars out front, thought maybe he just went off on his own. I mean, he has that right. So his friend left, and went home. Guys, I have to tell you, there was a time back when I was in high school, I was at a friend's house, and this friend was running next door to a neighbor's house to go take something. And she didn't come back for a couple hours. So I left because I didn't feel comfortable going knock on the neighbor's door. I mean, now that I'm an adult, I think, oh my God, what if something was happening to her? It wasn't. Um, she was a chatty catty, and they wound up chatting, and she forgot that I was still at the house. And guys, I left. Thank God nothing bad happened, or I would be feeling like that friend, you know? So after the friend left, no one heard from Branson. And after several days, Branson's grandmother She couldn't reach him by phone, so she drove by to check on her grandson. And she found the house unlocked and Branson's wallet and all of his other items still at the house. Okay. But she thought maybe he was out with friends, you know? So over the next several days, she kept trying to call Branson and never received an answer. She went over to the house again, and it was when it was still empty, she called Branson's mom, Rebecca. Now, Rebecca too had not heard from Branson. And once Bob was released from the hospital, Rebecca and Bob went to the police station and they filed a missing report for their 20-year-old son, Branson. Now, Bob at first thought maybe Branson, after what had just happened with the neighbor, maybe he took off on his own because he needed to get away because that is traumatic that happened to him. But he still filed that missing persons report. So I give Bob kudos for that and that they didn't wait any longer. Now, police put together search parties and they began searching for Branson. They searched the entire house and the property as well as the surrounding areas. The jumper cables that Branson was taking to the shed were not found in the shed or on the property during that search. Guys, however, about 2 weeks later, when another search was done, the jumper cables were on the ground outside of the shed. Now, they found them highly suspicious. And guys, I agree with them. That is suspicious. In the days and months following the reporting of his disappearance, Nottoway County Police searched a full 15-mile radius around Branson's home, along with interviewing hundreds and hundreds of individuals. Now, during their investigation, they found out that Branson was a lot like a lot of 20-year-olds, and he was a recreational user of marijuana. But they were unsure if there were any connections to that in his disappearance. Now, this case takes another weird turn on April 10th, 2023. A man by the name of Jack Wayne Rogers, a Presbyterian minister, was arrested on charges of first-degree assault and practicing medicine without a license after he removed a transgender woman's genitals in a reassignment surgery in a hotel room. Guys, I'm going to stop right there. What in the hell is a Presbyterian minister doing conducting surgery in a hotel room? Did he think God gave him some miracle skills and that he was going to do this? Now, I'm going to give you another trigger warning that this guy is a wacko. And I know that's not a nice, appropriate term, but you will understand. So while they were looking into Jack, they found over 800 child pornography photos on his computer, along with discussions about cannibalizing the genitals of men that he personally had castrated. Once again, he's supposed to be a minister. Not only does he have child pornography, he is also doing surgeries like a doctor, and then he's cannibalizing them. See why I said wacko? Also, during the investigation, law enforcement found messages that Jack had posted where he detailed picking up a hitchhiker that matches Branson's descriptions and details how he raped, tortured, and mutilated the person before killing them. Now, during a search of Jack's property, a necklace was found that resembled the necklace Branson owned. I can't say 100% that it was Branson, but the family said, yeah, he had one just like that. Now, Jack has denied knowing Branson and says that he made up everything that was in that post. Bullshit. Okay, just going to call it. That or your mind's really whacked. But he is currently in prison serving his sentence for his other crimes. Now, something I found interesting, I found that Branson's mom said she believes Jack and doesn't think he had anything to do with Branson's disappearance. Now, I couldn't find why she said that, but I found it and I just thought it was interesting to put in there because it makes me wonder, maybe the mom knows something or the police told her something that she couldn't tell. Because I like to say a mom is going to trust her gut. But I'm glad this man is in jail because he needs to be there for a very long time. Now, in 2009, police had conducted a search off of a tip where they dug up a well in Quitman for 2 days after receiving a tip that they thought was very credible. Sadly, nothing was discovered during the dig. Now, tips continued coming in after the unsuccessful dig, but they have continued to slow down as time passed. Now, in August of 2022, law enforcement announced that they have a suspect in Branson's disappearance, but they need additional evidence before they can charge them. They have not released this person's name. No charges have been filed. Now, a police officer who found the case several years after Branson went missing spent the next 18 years investigating Branson's case on his off time. And during that time, he came to believe that Branson's disappearance does have to do with his drug use. And he didn't say why, but Nottoway Sheriff's Office has said they agree. Whether it was that he went to go buy some marijuana and was abducted on his way, he owed people money, we don't know. But they do now think that it could have had something to do with his disappearance. And I'm guessing if the sheriff's office agrees with that statement and that they say they have a suspect, I'm going to say that they know what they're talking about. Now, Branson's family said they were not aware of his drug use, and they didn't know much about it until about 3 days before he went missing. He had asked a family member to help get him into rehab. Okay. And that family member helped. But sadly, he went missing before he was able to enter that facility. And guys, my heart breaks for him and that family because after being sexually assaulted and wanting to, get some help for his drug addiction, he went missing before he could get the help he needed. So now in May of just this year, FBI searched another area in Quitman based off of a tip that was called in, and they conducted another intense dig. But again, no evidence was found relating to Branson or his disappearance. But police say this is very much an open case. They will follow up on all tips, and they worry that with each and every day passing that people are dying and taking any secrets or any information they have with them. Sadly, Branson's dad passed away in 2004, and his mom died in 2011, and his grandmother passed away in 2015. It has been 23 years, and Branson's siblings and other surviving family members are still holding out for answers in Branson's disappearance. Another thing I found while researching Branson's disappearance is something that, guys, made my head spin and my heart break even more for this family. They have gone through it. On December 16th, 2004, just 3 years after Branson went missing, his cousin, Bobby Joe Stinnett, was murdered. Bobby Joe was 23 and was 8 months pregnant when Lisa Marie Montgomery strangled Bobby Joe to death and then cut her fetus out of her womb. Bobby Joe and Lisa Marie had met and had become friends while at a dog show. And Lisa Marie had told Bobby Joe that she too was pregnant. And that helped them develop a fast friendship. They were both pregnant at the same time. And on December 16th, Lisa Marie went to Bobby Joe's house, proceeded to kill her and take her baby. Bobby Joe's mother found her daughter lying in a pool of blood and deceased on the floor. Now, police looked into Bobby Joe's electronic communication, and based on this, they went to interview Lisa Marie the day after Bobby Joe's murder. Upon arrival, police noticed the same make and model of a car that a witness had seen outside of Bobby Joe's house. And inside the house, police found Lisa Marie holding a newborn baby. Lisa had told her husband that she went into labor while out shopping and gave birth to their baby and came home. Guess what, guys? It doesn't work that way. Now, Lisa also couldn't keep her story straight, so police arrested her and took Bobby Joe's newborn, and it was given to Bobby Joe's, the baby's father. The baby was completely unharmed and was okay. Lisa Marie was found guilty in October of 2007, and she was sentenced to death. After failed attempts to an appeal, Lisa Marie Montgomery was executed on January 13th, 2021. I mean, guys, come on. You have one family member missing, and then just 3 years later, another one is brutally murdered. And then the mom, dad, and grandmother of the missing die without having any answers. The trauma that family has had to endure and live with, I mean, it just rips my heart in two. And I truly hope that the family gets the answers that they deserve and that the police get the final piece of evidence they need, or that they find Branson's or his body and that there is evidence that ties back to that suspect. Either way, my heart and prayers go out to the Perry family. And the missing poster that has been shared on our social media page, I ask that you please share it. As far as Wesley's, there is age progressed photos in there as well. If you have any information, please contact Nottoway County Sheriff's Office at 660-582-7451. And guys, after the amount of time, money, and resources they've spent following up on tips and doing these digs, this is a sheriff's office that I feel confident they get a credible tip, they're going to go and investigate. So if you know anything, please contact them. Let's give his family some closure, some peace, and some answers. They've already suffered enough. Now, I want to share my lighthearted story that I thought might make us all smile after those two gut-wrenching cases. Purely fictional, you will see, but I enjoyed writing it, so I hope you find it a nice little palate cleanser. In the charming town of Austin, Texas, preparations were in full swing for the annual wine tasting event at the beloved local shop, Cork and Barrel. This year, the centerpiece of the event was a rare 1999 Sauvignon Blanc, affectionately known as Sauvignon Queen, a bottle that promised to delight the palates of the town's wine aficionados and winos too. As the event drew nearer, Mr. Eric Peterson, the shop's owner, went to get the prized bottle from the wine cellar, and to his shock, the bottle was missing. He scoured every corner of the cellar. The Sauvignon Queen was nowhere to be found. Now, Mr. Peterson quickly called his trusty girls, Jen and Maggie, who were equally baffled. They had meticulously prepared for the event, and they could not imagine how the bottle had disappeared. As their panic was rising, a good friend stopped by to help them search. As they all pondered where to go look next, they were interrupted by the loud bleating of a goat from a neighboring home. The goat, known as Jasper the Friendly Goat, was notorious for his mischievous antics. Jasper had a reputation for sneaking into places he shouldn't be and for being naughty. The group followed the sound of Jasper's bleating to the neighbor's backyard, where he found Jasper looking rather pleased with himself. Mr. Peterson noticed a broken bottle nearby, its label unmistakably that of the 1999 Sauvignon Queen. "Jasper!" exclaimed Mr. Peterson. "What have you done?" Jasper, with a guilty look in his eyes, had indeed found his way into the cellar. The broken bottle and the distinct smell of wine clued everyone in on what happened. It appeared that Jasper had managed to take the bottle of wine and, in his typical fashion, decided to have a taste. Now, Mr. Peterson couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of this situation, saying, "Well, it looks like Jasper has quite expensive taste, just like his owner, Teri True Crime," he chuckled. The townsfolk have gathered around to see what the commotion was about, and they burst into laughter as Jasper the goat had become the unlikely star of the wine tasting event, his antics adding a layer of humor to the day. Now, not wanting to disappoint the attendees, Mr. Peterson quickly retrieved another fine bottle of wine from his collection, and the wine tasting continued with plenty of cheer and laughter. As for Jasper, he was escorted back home, much to the amusement of everyone. The story of Jasper and the missing wine became an instant hit. Mr. Peterson, raising a glass of the replacement wine, toasted to the unexpected twist of life. "Here's to Jasper," he declared, "the goat with the finest palate in Texas." And so the wine tasting event turned out to be a memorable success, thanks in part to a very curious but naughty goat, Jasper the friendly goat. So I hope that was a nice little palate cleanser. Thought I would loop in a little fun there with Jasper and, of course, wine, since we all know I like to enjoy my wine time. Now, I want to thank you all for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you all again on Wednesday for our next episode of Midday Missing. This Wednesday, we will have the sister of Bianca Crosco joining us to share her sister story. So please be sure to subscribe and have notify you, because this story is out of San Antonio, Texas. And guys, it is another gut-wrenching story, but this is a family who is not giving up the search. They are determined to find Bianca. So don't forget, you can catch all of our productions here on our YouTube channel and our professionally edited podcasts wherever you listen to your podcasts. So until next time, please stay safe, watch out for crime, and enjoy some wine for me since I can't have any. Thanks, guys.